Hi guys, Big Monday here, and today I have a little video for you on how to do instant replays in OBS. Now first off, I apologise for this sort of little webcam window being really sort of choppy and out of sync. It's never really worked properly on my encoder setting. I don't know what's up with it. I don't usually use it in this setup. The only reason it's here is so when I do instant replays you can see me moving, because it says a bit clearer that we've gone back to a replay. So OBS is kind of, it feels a bit incomplete in terms of its replays, because replay sounds like you press replay and it sort of shows back the last X amount of time. But with OBS that doesn't happen. Now its replay function can be really useful, because basically the way it works is it stores an amount of video in memory, and when you press a save button it will save that to a separate video file. So it can be really useful if, say, you've done a long video and you are going to edit it later to put replays in, but you don't want to have to go through the whole video. So if you know you want sort of a small clip out of the last 30 seconds, you can set it to 30 seconds, you can hit save, and then rather than having to go through a long video to find that bit you wanted, you can you can just look through a short video. Now, a little word of warning: my PC does struggle to encode at full 1080p 60 while I'm gaming, and I think that's partly why I'm having problems with this little window, because having this little webcam window in is a bit more CPU intensive. And once you start saving to a replay buffer as well, it's kind of like it's doing a lot of extra work recording a second video at the same time. So bear in mind that it will take a little bit more system resources than just doing a normal video if you want to do replays as well. So I think that's why I'm getting the problems here, because I can record a little webcam if I'm not doing replays. So, but anyway, okay, first thing you're going to need is the video source plugin for OBS. I'll put the link in the description, but here it is. If you've got the 32-bit version, download this. If you've got the 64-bit version, download this. Bear in mind that's the version of OBS you're using, not your version of Windows. If you're on Windows 64-bit but you're using OBS 32-bit, you should still download the 32-bit version. But I'm using 64-bit, so I'm going to use that one. And we can quickly go to where I've saved it. Get a view that's not horrible. Right, you're going to need a little program called 7-Zip. If you've not got it, go get it. Right click on the file you've downloaded and go 7-Zip extract here. It will put this video source wrapper and video source plugin in the folder. Copy those and then go to C drive, program files, OBS, plugins, right click and paste them. I've already put mine there, so I'm not going to paste it again. And if you've got OBS open at the time, you are going to have to close OBS and reopen it again. So then we go over to OBS. We need to configure this to start saving replays. So we're going to go to settings, broadcast settings. Now I'm using file output only while I'm recording this. Excuse me. Replay buffer length can be anything you like. It can go quite high. I'm not sure what the max is, but it's going to give you this sort of estimate of memory. Bear in mind that estimate is not accurate. So if you're going to save long replays, it's going to chew through a lot of memory. You might have performance issues. But if you're less than 30 seconds, I very much doubt you'd have a problem. I have 8 GB of RAM. That's plenty. I'm only doing 10-second replays. So then we need to tell OBS where we want to save this. Now you can see I've got D drive videos. That's where I put all the videos recorded by OBS. My replay buffer is going to D drive videos replays. Now this can be anywhere you like on your PC. although it needs to be its own folder. It needs to be an empty folder, and the reason for that, we'll talk about why a little later, but it needs to be an empty folder. Now, I'm saving these as MP4s. OBS is of course capable of doing MP4 and FLV. You can do either, just bear in mind that we are putting the file type in the video source we'll do in a moment, so just bear in mind that that you need to make sure you've got the right file type when you put the video source in. Okay, we'll do hotkeys in a moment, but okay, so setting up your video. Now, you will need two scenes. The first scene will be whatever you're trying to record, your game, your media capture device, whatever. So that will be your scene 1. Your second scene will be your instant replay scene, and this is where we're going to put the new video source. Now, I can't switch to that, because if I do, it's going to stop showing you how I'm setting it up. The little pick of and show any replays you've already got stacked up. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you how to set it up with sources in scene 1, but you'll need to put these two sources I'm about to show you in instant replay. So the first one, we're going to add a video source, and I'm going to call it replay. Okay, now my videos are 1920 by 1080. You could, if you like, put you can put replays in as sort of a little box out. You might need to use stretch for that if you're doing different sizes, but you can put them in as a little box out. Lost my train of thought. You can put them in as a little box out if you want to, but I'm not going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, so audio settings you may have a problem with, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later. For now, I'm going to show you use the settings I found worked while I was testing this. I'm going to output audio to device, dummy audio output. Just take a note of the volume setting. The first time I set this, it sort of reset the volume for me. So, and we need to enter a file path for where we are saving our replays. So in this case, we are replay 10s.mp4, and we hit the little plus here, and you see it puts it in this little playlist, and then we hit OK. Now I'm going to go back into it and go properties, just to make sure that my audio is set. Like I say, the first time I did this, it set my audio volume to 0. Okay, so I'm going to just disable that one because I don't want it showing the replay on my scene 1. I want it showing on my instant replay scene on scene 2. Now, the next thing, we want to make it easy to switch in and out of the instant replay. So the first thing we want to do is set up 3 hotkeys. One hotkey is going to be for save replay. The second hotkey is going to be to switch to the instant replay scene, and the third one is to switch back again. I've set these up on numpad 7, 8, 9. Having them in a nice little line, it makes it easier. So we go into settings, hotkeys, and save replay buffer on numpad 7. We then have our instant replay scene, which we right click it and go set hotkey, and we would save that. That would be numpad 8, and then we go back to our first scene and we go set hotkey and numpad 9. So basically what's going to happen is you press numpad 7 and it saves the replay. You give it a few seconds to save the replay, then you press numpad 8 and it switches to the replay, and then you go numpad 9 and it switches back. Now, I'm going to move this to the bottom. Now, one thing you have to bear in mind is that once your replay has finished, your scene is going to show nothing. So if you don't switch back in time, you're going to show a blank screen. So what it's usually worth doing, just in case you sort of are a bit slow switching back, is we're going to add an image. I'm going to call this background. And we're going to go browse. I've already set one up. It can be any image you like. Usually you want to say something like live broadcast will be resumed shortly. I'm going to hit OK. We're going to move that to the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save a replay. Just need to disable the next step. Okay, so what we'll find now is when the replay plays again, this is awkward for me to show you because I can't switch to instant replay. When basically your replay will play and then it will show you this screen. It will show you the image you've got left. So your instant replay scene should have replay and background in it, both enabled. So I'll just disable them because that's not what I want to show you at the moment. Okay, so our problem with this is that OBS doesn't like overwriting the file. So if I switch to my second monitor and I save a replay, this is where OBS is saving the replays, D drive, vids, replays. Now you can see when I save my first replay, it comes up as replay 10 seconds. If I save a replay again, it comes up as replay 10 seconds, then it gets a number added to it. Now the problem for that is that our video source is always looking at the same file. So we need some way to manage that. We need some way around the fact that OBS won't remove this file. So to solve that problem, we have this little program called DropIt. And what DropIt does is it monitors the folder and it will move and rename files for you as necessary. So go to the DropIt project website, dropitproject.com, hit download, download the installer package version, which I've already downloaded, run through the setup. And once you've ran through the setup and you open the program, you will get this sort of floating sort of arrow. And this is sort of the DropIt program. Now we need to set up what's called associations. Now we go to associations and we click the plus to create a new one, but I'll just go straight into edit and show you the one I've got already. We call it instant replay. And then we need to set up a rule. Now the rule needs to have in it needs an asterisk for wildcard, and then it needs the path including the file name to our file. Now you'll notice I'm saving mine as MP4. So what we could do is we could just have asterisk D drive vids replays replay10s.mp4. But while I'm setting this up, a couple of times I've switched between FLVs and MP4s because of sometimes one will encode better than the other. So I'll switch between them. And just so I don't have to keep changing DropIt settings, I've put both in. So what we've got is this little icon here that's a little hard to see is a semicolon. If you open click on the little eye here, it will show you some examples. It will show you how to use the semicolon as a separator if you want. But basically, you need an asterisk for wildcard, then the address to the file .flv, a semicolon, then another asterisk, the path to the file .mp4, and then we set up a move action. So we select action move. And we're going to set the destination folder, so this time it's D drive, vids, replays, instant replay, so we just put it in an instant replay folder and we hit save, and hit the checkbox. Now, straight off, I'm just going to delete that junk file. Straight off, that's not going to actually do anything because DropIt won't automatically process the rule you've just set up. So we're going to right click it and go to Options, and just quickly scanning through the options. You will want to set it to ignore unassociated files and folders, because if you've got junk in this folder, it will take it longer to process, and you don't want that. That's why we put it in a folder on its own, because there's going to be a delay with DropIt moving this so we can use it, and we want that delay to be as short as possible. So we leave this folder empty other than the files that we have to have in there, so it runs faster. Now we ignore unassociated files, ignore files in use by other programs, and the important one, manage duplicates. So we want to use automatic choice for duplicates and overwrite. And what that's going to do is, when DropIt moves the file for us, normally it would bring us this message up saying, do you want to overwrite the file? Whereas now it's just going to do it. It'll do it and it won't ask us. So the next bit we want to set up is automatic monitoring. So we get this to just continually scan the folder rather than us having to manually start it. So we go to monitoring. We will enable scan of monitored folders. And our time interval, because we need this to be relatively quick, we're going to set the time interval to 1 second. And we're going to add a folder to our monitored folders. I'll edit the one I've got. And it's wherever we told OBS to put our replay. So in my case, it's D drive, vids, replays, and it's going to ask us which profile we're using. It should just be default unless you set up a new one. So we save that. Once we hit OK, this is going to start scanning every second. So what you'll see is this file will then get moved into the instant replays folder. And if I hit OK, you should see this little sync icon appearing on the DropIt icon. Now, I've noticed one little bug with this program is if you right-click it and try and go to Options, basically if you don't do that fast enough that the sync icon has had time to come up where you've got the menu up, it won't let you go into the options. So, and with it scanning every 1 second, it's kind of hard to get into it. If you double-click it though, it will drop itself down into your sort of taskbar down here, and then you can right click that and go into options, and it doesn't matter whether it's syncing or not, it'll let you do it. So I'm going to delete the files in here just to make sure that our instant replay says we've got no thumbnail. Now if I press numpad 7 now to save a replay, it should put it here, and it is putting it here, but DropIt is moving it before we even get a chance to see it in Windows. So it does get put here, and if we had a longer delay on DropIt, it would show here and then it would move. But as you can see, it pretty much instantly appeared in the instant replays folder. So now we need to go back to OBS. And again, remember this. You should be setting this up in instant replays, but to show you how I need it on my screen one. So we're going to right click on our replay, go to properties, and we're going to change this address to instant instant replays / replay 10s.mp4. We're going to add that to the list, then we're going to remove that one. So now it's showing us the one. It's not using the replay file that OBS creates. It's using the file that DropIt moves for us. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to put an invalid file name in for this, because while I'm showing you this, I've got my instant replay set up with the same file name, and I've noticed that having it set up with the same file name has sometimes it causes it problems. So I'm just going to set up a dummy file name for now. So just ignore that bit. On my instant replay, it's set up to use the D drive vids replays instant replay replay 10s.mp4. Okay, so now that should be pretty much it. It should now allow us to run a replay, to save a replay, to switch scene, and then switch back. So if I save a replay, I'm going to give OBS a few seconds to save it and DropIt a few seconds to copy it over. Then I'm going to press numpad 8 to switch scenes. Allow us to run a replay, to save a replay, to switch scene, and then switch back. So if I save, and then we hit numpad 9 to switch back again, and that's it. I can just hit numpad 7 every time I want to replay, numpad 8 to switch, and then numpad 9 to switch back. You could, if you want to be really clever about it, this background image, we could put that in as another video source, so you could have something moving in the background. For example, I do Dota 2 videos occasionally. The loading screen for that has sort of motion in it, so we could put that as the background rather than just a static page. It's a bit fancy. You can fiddle with stuff like that later. Just as a warning, if the replay file is in use when DropIt tries to move it, it will cause an error. So basically, I'll show you the error. So I'll save replay, and I'm going to instantly change the instant replay scene. Allow us to run a replay, and it causes this error to come up. And you'll notice that my replay 10s file is still here. DropIt hasn't moved it. See, the problem is that once I change the instant replay scene, the file that we're trying to get DropIt to overwrite is still in use. So DropIt can't overwrite a file that's in use. So what you have to be careful of when you are doing this is that you save the instant replay, and then you wait. You have to wait long enough for DropIt to finish moving it before you switch to the instant replay scene, or you'll get this error. And if you watch this file, when I just clear the error, I'm going to go OK and just confirm it. You'll see that now, because I'm not on the instant replay scene, it's not in use. As soon as I clear the error, it moves. But if you were live streaming or something like that, that could be a bit of a problem for you. So just bear in mind, you need to give DropIt a little bit of time to move the file before you switch to the instant replay scene. Now that'll depend on your PC. If you're on like a really ancient knackered PC, it's going to take maybe 20-30 seconds. If you're on some monster with all solid state drives, it's probably going to be like 2 seconds and it's done. But just bear in mind, if you watch any streamers and they have instant replays, you'll notice the action happens, then there's sort of a 15-20 second delay, and then the instant replay comes on. And this is why, or in a lot of cases, I mean they could be using a different setup, but this is why usually it happens, why there's that delay. So just before you actually go live with something like this, go into just sort of go and record a video and just sort of fiddle about with how much time you need to leave it, and just make sure, just remember, it's not always going to be 100% exactly the same time. So don't try and like time it to like 4.5 seconds. So I'm going to like time it as closely as I can. Give it a little bit of breathing space, or you're going to get this error and it's going to screw up your live stream. So I think that's pretty much it. You should be able to do nice little instant replays with this now. I'm going to drop all of the links in the description. Hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Hope you found it useful. Please let me know in the comments any issues you might have. On a little side note, you may have an issue with the audio on your video source. And I've noticed this as a comment on one of the OBS forums for the video source is sometimes it doesn't play the audio properly in the replay. Once you've got a replay saved, you can immediately switch to showing the replay. You don't have to sort of wait and record a new one. So go into the settings and have a play about with these. The first time I did this, I did it with output audio to stream and got no audio. The second time I did this, I used output audio to device and put it as dummy audio output, and it worked fine. And that's the way it should work. So if it's not working like that, you probably want to go and report a bug. Drop me a comment on the video if you have trouble. I'll try and help you, but I'm not an expert on the software, so you're probably best to go to the video source plugin page on OBS, go on the forums there and report it there. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bye bye.